inspired you to get involved with this? Why is it interesting to you?
Well, we focus on a wide range of issues that are important to young Americans, and this industry is a billion-dollar industry that's growing rapidly, and it provides all kinds of opportunities as far as careers, and not just the folks who are playing, but people who are developing the games, and it fits in with STEM and all of these other things that are of incredible importance to the future of this country and to this next generation. And so we had the Esports commissioner from University of California, Irvine, in to speak to us, and we're just learning more about the challenges and opportunities in this industry.
That is fantastic. Now, I want to know, kind of stepping back a little bit before you got to this point, what made you decide to run for Congress in the first place?
Well, I represent a district in Central Florida, having never held public office before. And in 2016, I didn't feel that, I felt like we needed to change Washington if we were going to change the direction of this country. And then the Pulse nightclub shooting happened, and the person representing the community takes a check from the NRA 2 days later. And I just felt that we needed a different kind of representation in Washington. So I ran a long shot campaign and unseated a 24-year incumbent.
Well, excellent. We are ready to get things started. Rocket League is about to be played. We do have Florida versus New York to kick things off. Congresswoman, thank you so much. Are you ready to get things started?
I am. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. All right, let's get going.
Go over to Kyle there.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're going to get into things here in just the next couple minutes. And again, I'm your host, Katie Bedford, here for ESA and the Future Forum to play a little Rocket League and see what happens with our congressmen and congresswomen for the day. Of course, joined by Pokemon Panda. If you want to introduce yourself to the masses.
That's me. Hello, everybody. I am Pokemon Panda, going to be joining Katie Bedford here. Going to be watching some high-octane matches between some of the ones that look over our country, between New York and Florida first. It's going to be some good stuff coming here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Rocket League at its finest in detail as well. Just like Katie was saying, probably better than her at the game, too. We're going to have to see how good they are at the game as well. We're going to be commentating over top of this as well. It's always so exciting when you join into the first game of Rocket League, is trying to figure out how the heck you fly up in the air and smack the soccer ball around as well.
Mm-hmm. That is true, and like I've said, not a forte of mine, if you will, but I'm sure everything will be all right. I mean, I'm not the one playing. I'm sitting up here, so that's really all that matters. Of course, like I said, our congressmen, congresswomen, going to go head-to-head here at Rocket League, and it's going to be New York versus Florida to kick things off. I'll actually be down in Florida in just a week for some extra esports on top of this. Should be a good time, but have you ever been to Florida or New York?
A while ago, yeah. I haven't been to Florida in a while. Daytona Beach is always one of my favorite places to go to as well.
Been.
Yeah, big car fan as well. I mean, that's probably how I ended up enjoying so much Rocket League as well. Get to go down to the Daytona races, but not racing going on here for you all as well. Nice, like Katie was saying, a nice hybrid in between cars, soccer, a little bit of hockey as well. You know, it's get to play your defender's advantage. This is a 2v2 situation here, apart from the professional style of Rocket League, which is typically 3v3. So going to be interested to see who's going to be chasing the ball, going to be getting some self-explosions going off here as well. It's going to be a pretty exciting experience, to say the least.
And all dressed for the occasion.
Yeah, I feel very underdressed, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
We're in here T-shirts.
This might be the most fashionable lineup of Rocket League players we've ever seen.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. You know, I never really see some of the higher teams up in the Rocket League Pro League.
In suits and ties?
Yeah.
Maybe
I would love to watch
that.
it.
They'll come in for the championships on Sundays. Come in. Suits and ties, ready to rock.
I feel like it's stressful enough for them to remember to have a clean jersey on. I would love to watch them in a. How fast can they tie their own tie race as well? That would be that'd be pretty exciting.
Do they get the assistance of a YouTube video?
No, they got to do it themselves. Got to figure it out. Got to figure it out.
Okay, could you tie without a video?
Now, yes. Now, when I was 9 years old, no, absolutely not. Yeah.
Who knows how to tie a tie at 9?
Well, when you have to go to church on the weekends.
Oh, that would do it.
Yeah.
That would do it. That's fair.
You got to figure those things out. Got to end up trying to figure those things out yourself. And really, the only other place that you can end up figuring those out if your older brothers don't teach you is you got to turn to the internet, much like a lot of other things these days.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not really sure how we all survived without the internet. I consider us to be quite lucky. The internet helps me, do things like play video games, which is a important part of my life.
That's true.
Apparently important, obviously, to the men and women who are joining us here today to play Rocket League.
Well, before YouTube even, I mean, you remember it was all just Badger, Mushroom.
Oh, great video, though.
Yeah. I still go back and reference that as
I think that's an indicator of age. If you know
What are you trying to say?
Badgers, then you know.
What are you trying to say? Saying I'm old?
I'm saying that I'm old.
Okay. I guess we're both old.
That's all that matters. Hey, you know what? 50's like the new 40s, the new 20s, the new 10, so it really doesn't matter.
People talk about age. I talk about seasons, right? Like talk about wisdom. Well, just bear with us, ladies and gentlemen, here as we trying to get connected to the lobby here. Currently, it is 1-1 on the scoreline for New York and Florida so far as we work to getting you all connected to the game as well as us here to commentate over top of it as well.
And we will get you into that shortly. Again, if you're just tuning in with us, it is Florida versus New York in Rocket League, led by Florida Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy and New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Again, their teams 2 versus 2 going head-to-head right now so far. As Pokemon Panda just said, the score 1-1. More goals than I have ever scored in Rocket League.
I'm just really interested to see, like, were those their scored goals, or were there any own goals going across there as well, too?
That's a good question. Yeah. Are they helping the enemy?
Yeah, right.
Unintentionally or maybe intentionally?
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I mean,
well, there we go.
I never know. It could be a double agent working for one of these teams over here. You never really know. Never really know, too.
I don't know if we're ready for that layer of drama in this broadcast.
Start layering on the narrative already in our first game here, but
what subterfuge is going on underneath the surface? Is someone unplugging someone's controller? We may never know.
There's something more at play here too. It's gonna be really exciting because
All right, looks like New York has gone up 2-1 over Florida. Again, New York being led by Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Again, 1 up over Florida Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy.
What's really interesting to see, as you all have as well, is you look to see how much fun all 4 of them are having in this game as well, and yet how serious they're really wanting to go about it as well. The spirit of competition still exists in many of us, whether you're used to playing an esport or not. The spirit of competition, the drive to win, pun intended.
Occasionally gets a boost every now and again.
That's what's probably going to be.
I think the best part is watching kind of the range of expressions going on. Mm-hmm. And there we go. You can see it there, of course. New York in orange, Florida in blue. New York, again, up 2-1 here over Florida to kick things off. 16 seconds left.
100 boosts, no crazy flips coming through. Just a simple goal being driven down there for the orange team. Going to be able to
extending that lead for New York, 3-1.
That's what I was mostly interested in as well, too. It's if you've ever played the game of Rocket League before, you're very new to it as well. One thing you have to put into consideration is how to utilize that boost. You don't have to go crazy like the pros. You don't have to go all insane and flipping through the air and playing around. But we're down to 8 seconds left here on the scoreline.
Can they keep the ball off the ground will be the question.
Gonna have to juggle this through and then try to force an extra
not.
round. Can't do it. New York's gonna go ahead and take it.
New York taking it 3-1 over Florida. I don't know why in my mind I felt like Florida was going to be orange and New York was going to be blue.
Well, it would make sense that way too. I mean,
Florida's very sunny.
Yeah, we were going like color coordination. Then I suppose that we should have gone that route. But regardless of the matter, it seems to be a little bit brighter for New York this time around.
That is certainly true. And you know what? They can be whatever color their heart desires between blue and orange.
That is so generous of you.
I try.
That's so generous of you.
I try. Yeah. I'm a giving host. And there you can see it again if you're just tuning in. This is the Entertainment Software Association and the Future Forum gathering here in the Longworth building in Washington, D.C. to play a little Rocket League courtesy of Psyonix. And again, I'm your host, Katie Bedford, walking us through everything today, joined by Pokemon Panda, who will be commentating the what's what, the who's who, and the what the heck is happening in Rocket League.
One thing to definitely keep in mind, too, it's not professionals playing the game here for you all. If you're catching us on Twitch, catching us here in the building as well, it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of spirit of competition going to be arising in between all of these individuals as well, too. It's a learning experience, both for, I suppose, for all of us in the room here today.
That is true, and actually, I mean, you can't quite see, of course, behind us, but a good crowd so far, and honestly, that's what I want to see from whether it's the representatives, the senators, their staff, to have them here participating and taking interest in this. I think especially for people like you and I who are in this industry, are in esports and love video games, that's fantastic to see. Absolutely,
and there's one thing to always consider as well, too, is the team bonding, too. I mean, you got to think about that. You're working with your colleagues, competing against them as well, too. You get that little bit of rivalry in the office as well, too. It's always really exciting when you get to take that out in a video game, much like Rocket League as well, too. You see a lot of different games being played around the world, too. I mean, there's got to be some sort of experience, whether it's through a younger generation of playing with them or through a different game as well, too. Again, seeing their cameras, the way that their expressions were playing out too, the spirit of competition was certainly alive in all four of our players there in between New York and Florida.
That was awesome. Now, I believe we're going to have one of the men of the hour come up from the Entertainment Software Association and come join us here in our wonderful 2 seats in front of the camera. Talk a little bit about what you're doing. Monsieur, please. Introduce yourself to the masses. Tell us who you are, why you're here, what the Entertainment Software Association is doing.
Hey guys, my name is Kevin O'Hanlon. I'm the Senior Director of Federal Government Affairs for the Entertainment Software Association, and we are very excited to be here today. We've been working with the Future Forum. They, as you heard from Congresswoman Murphy, are a generational caucus of Democrats in the House. And they were looking to learn more about esports, and so we kind of capitalized on the opportunity, and they were looking for new ways to reach new audiences. And we kind of figured that doing an informal, kind of fun esports tournament was the perfect way to get them to see firsthand the power of play and the ability of games and competitive gaming to bring people together.
And now, if you're not particularly familiar with ESA, of course, they run E3, which is, I would say, the biggest video game convention, if you will, in America and arguably in the world, of course, where all the juicy announcements happen, where all of kind of the action occurs in our industry every year. And it's been exciting. So when did they approach you? Did the Future Forum approach ESA, or was it kind of collaborative from the beginning?
It was very much collaborative from the beginning. We had a number of conversations about kind of ideas on how to bring video games to Congress, and so initially we brought in Mark Deppy, who's the director of the UC Irvine Esports Arena, who came in and discussed the industry a little more broadly, and that's kind of what precipitated this event, was Mark's kind of passion for the industry.
Well, and that's kind of interesting because Mark, if you're not familiar with him either, of course, has kind of been a pioneer for the collegiate level esports, of course, doing a lot of work with UCI Irvine. And I've spoken with him a few times, and it's been exciting to see. I think people, Kevin, don't realize that esports and video games now, there's sponsorships, there's scholarships, there's a passion, there's a path, there's careers And it's not just as a player. There's careers in any level you can imagine in this industry.
Absolutely. It's a really vibrant career path at this point, and it's kind of interesting as we see this first generation of really professional esports athletes age out and start to retire, that there is a whole world of opportunity that's open, and they can continue to participate in the field, or they can go back into academia and they can continue their education and move on from there. But it is a really vibrant community, and it's an incredible career field.
What has your reception been from Future Forum and in general, maybe other representatives, other senators, kind of learning about what you're doing? What has the reception been like from them?
It's been a great year for us. Obviously, this new Congress, we have a lot more members of a younger demographic, many of whom are native gamers, and that's just not been the case as much with previous Congresses. So we have a really, really positive reception from members, many of whom are kind of in that 1980s era where they grew up with Nintendo and other video game consoles in the home. And so there's a lot of excitement. Video games are something that have been part of their life their entire lives. And it's exciting to see members who are not just kind of academically aware of video games, but who are passionate gamers themselves.
That is fantastic. I mean, again, for someone like myself, I love video games. Obviously, that's my industry, that's my life. And to see people taking perhaps a different career path, but holding that same kind of passion for themselves as well, carrying that on into something like politics, which of course, arguably very important, is always excellent to see. And I think that's been a little newer over the last few years, that kind of interest, if you will.
The interest and I think the acceptance that being a gamer isn't necessarily a bad thing. That stigma that we had in years past.
It's a great thing.
It is a great thing, I agree. But the stigma is starting to wear off. And so now when people self-identify as a gamer, it's a good thing. It's bringing people together instead of being this kind of, if I don't want to say divisive, but being something that others look down on.
Yeah. Well, I think that's an important thing, too, kind of these themes of acceptance, whether it's video games or otherwise, being able to come in and for all the people who are standing in the back, they might not necessarily play video games themselves, but they're here to learn, and they want to know what ESA is. They want to know the Future Forum. They want to know what is going on. And so for us, I mean, that is very exciting. So what are you hoping the overall message of the day will be?
The message today is really just education and letting people experience this portion of the industry firsthand. There are plenty of people who play video games, but I think it's this competitive aspect and the professionalization of video game competition is such an important part of where this industry is going. And I mean, you saw how excited the members were to be playing together, and it is just such a terrific way to bring people together and have a good time. And having them walk out with a favorable impression of what competitive video game play means.
That's very true, and I think I saw a couple looks of frustration, if you will, on some of their faces, and I found that I identify with that a little more because Rocket League's hard. Rocket
League is hard. We were very fortunate. We were looking through kind of the variety of games to play with members of Congress, and we were looking for games that were pick up and play, and Psyonix was generous enough to let us use Rocket League in this case. And it's nice because it's a concept that resonates. It's soccer, kind of underlying the game. So it's not something where you have to think about it. You kind of natively play soccer with the addition of, playing with a car.
That's true. Of course, an easy stepping stone if you need to kind of, dip your toes into the water of what video games are, what esports is, what kind of all of that means. And again, it affects all of them. It affects their districts. It affects their constituents because, again, the younger audiences, the kids who are growing up now, the majority of them, they're going to be watching Twitch. They're going to be watching streamers, and they're going to be engaging with video games. So,
and it's something, we put together a map a few years back called areweinyourstate.org. And we were actually able to go through and map out the companies that are active across the country. And it's been such an impactful tool when you're working with members of Congress, because now we're able to go in and say that 84% of members of Congress have someone who's actually creating video games in their district. And then there are 230 plus institutions of higher learning where you can get a degree that feeds you in. So it's a very, very robust pipeline. And you've got a huge economic generator in the States, and that's a hugely compelling message. So we're not just bringing the consumer message, but we're also bringing the kind of economic message as well.
And those demographics you talked about, kind of the expansion, have you seen a
larger uptick in the last, say, 5 years than previously? You know, it's interesting. The demographics are shifting. There are more women over 50 playing games than there are men under 18. So I think a lot of these stereotypes that people have of the video game industry and what a gamer is have shifted pretty significantly. And that's something that a lot of people take for granted still, is that it's a pastime of young men, but that's really not the case anymore. The industry has expanded so far beyond kind of that perception point.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point to make. You know, gamers aren't just young men. They're mothers, they're fathers, they're daughters. Yep. They are sons as well. They're anything that you can imagine. They're politicians, of course, here joining us in this room right now, who are going to be playing video games. So I think that's an important message to get out. Anyone can play video games. Anyone can enjoy them. It's not, you know, maybe what you would envision if you closed your eyes and thought of a stereotype.
Absolutely. So I think it looks like we have our next panel of folks up. So we're fortunate we've got some congressional staff who are going to get up and play the next round here while the members are on the floor voting.
That will be excellent. Of course, yes, they do. Right now, they're at their actual jobs, and then they're going to come join us here to play Rocket League. But again, we've got some staffers who are going to kick things off as well, see what is going on. And to that note, we'll get into that in just a couple of minutes. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Katie.
Again, if you are just joining us here, it is ESA and the Future Forum playing some Rocket League courtesy of Psyonix to get the word out about esports, video games, and our industries within those. I'm your host, Katie Bedford, and we'll be with you for the remainder of our time here, joined once again by Pokemon Panda. Thank you so much. I missed you while you were gone.
It's okay. I was just right over there, just watching. It's okay. Still hearing, still listening.
You were saving me some food. I appreciate that.
It's so hard to hold myself back. You know, there's one thing. Even
it happens.
aspiring esports commentators out there too, eating in the middle of a broadcast. It's
tough.
Yeah, takes away from a little bit of energy, you know. But
so that's what everyone has told me. So usually, you know, I'm hosting as opposed to commentating, and I've heard majority of commentators say they hate eating before they have to do a cast.
Yep. Always eat light before you go in for a broadcast, too. You don't want to go in too heavy because you want to maintain your energy as well. But it looks like we're hopping straight into things here. Florida going to be representing the orange this time.
Ah, see, they heard us. They knew. Sunny Florida will now be orange, joined by Maryland this time in blue. Again, their staffers going head-to-head while the members are having a little vote on the floor.
Representation of the state of Maryland. Gotta love it. So happy to see the representation of my home state as well. It just looks like kind of fumbling around, just looking for this goal here. Got both defenders of orange as well, Getting real nice and comfortable with the defense as well. Going to clear the ball slightly. Be playing around in this corner ever so. Now we're going to be on board here with Maryland. Car number 4. This is very interesting as well, is that they're all using the same exact car, which you would normally see used in the Pro League as well. Blue going in for the goal, misses it slightly, falls into the goal itself. Orange is right there to clear it out, and it's right in the midfield now. It's going to be in Orange's play. Going to be looking to set themselves up for a goal here as well. Lots of defense here. Going to be right there in the goal, misses wildly to the left. Flipping all around there. Great heel flip coming through there from Maryland's representation. Going to be clearing it back over to the orange side now. It's going to be setting up here for a goal. It's right there in the center, and it's going to be Maryland who gets the first goal of the game. 3 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock. You're going to see Florida's going to be able to bring it back.
And you can see a lot of smiles on their faces as they go head-to-head again. Florida and Maryland. Previously, New York toppled Florida 3-1 in our first bout.
Now Florida's going to have to see if they can get their tires on the ground, get the ball in the goal, and see how they're going to be able to play it around with it. It's Maryland, again, in control of the ball, putting it in the orange side of the court. Going to try to wheel their way into another goal, too, but it's going to end up getting cleared out. Riding on the right-hand side of the actual playground as well. Cleared out. Good defense coming through from Maryland. Going to be able to trying to get it back out in center field as Florida looks to jostle with the position of the ball itself, looking to set up a goal. It is now back on the orange side. Blue gets it back in there. It's going to be Maryland with the second goal. 2 minutes and 32 seconds for Florida, looking to get their first goal and start bringing themselves back in this bout. Nice reset here. See who's going to be able to get first touch. Going to try to get the advantage going in the first one. Maryland does get the first touch, throws it over to the orange side. Not going to be seeing any sort of crazy wild flips coming out here. Just trying to get the ball into the goal. Very simplistic. It's going to be Florida in control this time around over on Maryland's side. Goal is pretty wide open. Gonna have to see if they can set themselves up, but it starts setting the other way. Gonna have to try to set themselves up for a goal here ever so slightly, and it's all about just patience. You don't want to try to be forcing your way into a goal here. You're gonna want to try to be setting yourselves up as well, wall riding yourself around. Blue has an open net available. Is gonna be able to get their third goal. Maryland going up 3-0.
Florida just can't seem to get anything going. Again, they only managed to score 1 goal against New York previously, and now getting handily trounced by Maryland.
One of the hardest parts, if you're not familiar with the game of Rocket League, is it's not always about just the offense and chasing the ball. You want to be able to set yourself up for a defense. That when the ball starts getting cleared from your side, you want to start ending up utilizing that boost, utilizing some simplistic flips like you just saw right there, just to get a little bit more momentum so that way you can set yourself up with the defense just like Maryland is. Playing inside the goal, waiting for the ball to be cleared as Florida is in control. Just looking for a slight clear. They are. Maryland starting to get control of the ball. Going to be able to set themselves up here slightly. It's over in the Florida side. Just kind of bouncing all up and around, just on a corner boost area. Now we have Florida looking to try to set themselves up. They have 1:15 seconds left just to try to get a first goal. They are down 3 currently. Still in control of the ball, they are, but Maryland's playing a lot of defense. They're going to be able to keep this ball in their position. They're not going to allow Florida to get this one easily, as it's now on Florida's side. Maryland's looking for another goal here. Almost gets it in, and said it's going to be the cart that gets in there instead, not the ball. Let's see again, mid-stage. Maryland going in for the flip play again. Open net for Maryland so far. Can Florida capitalize on top of it? 40 seconds left. 3-0. They have to come back from this deficit. Maryland now, with a good clearance, is going to be able to try to force their way into this goal. Almost gets it in. Just misses. The ball is now cleared back into the center court. 30 seconds remaining, just like you see on your screen now. The ball on the side of Florida. It gets in.
And
Florida's going to be able to get on the board.
Desperately in need of a goal, and they managed to get one. You can see all smiles there, feeling very, very good. Looking a little serious on the side of Maryland, perhaps. Maybe we've got a bit of a challenge. 24 seconds left, though, so they'll have to come back with 2 goals here in quick fashion.
Ooh, good collision there coming through from Florida. Full boost, going to be able to take Maryland back, sent them back over to the other side, but Maryland answers back in kind. It's an open net now for Maryland. Can't get the ball quite in. But there's a teammate there. It's now 10 seconds left. 3-1. Can you start the juggle here, Florida? Try to get yourself up on the board. 3-2. That's what you want.
To juggle?
Unable to do so. One more explosion coming in and out from Maryland, getting a little bit aggressive here. As you see, again, all smiles across the board here for our representatives of both Florida and Maryland. Florida does... Oh, did we have our...
We may have had the colors switch into that. No, you know what? We were given a little too much criticism to Florida because we thought they were Maryland.
Sorry, Florida. My bad. You crushed it.
You came back from a 3-1 deficit to New York to take it 3-1 over Maryland. Congratulations to them. A little surprise there for us.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm only given so much information to flap my gums into the microphone now, so you know.
Yeah, but you do it so well.
Oh, you. But it will be Florida taking 3-1 here in our second match of the day after losing to New York, like Katie just said. So going to be looking to see what we have next on the docket for us here.
That is very true. And again, joining us here, Future Forum ESA in the Longworth building here in Washington, D.C. I'm your host, Katie Bedford, joined by Pokemon Panda, helping me out, commentating with me, showing me the ropes, as I'm usually used to hosting here instead of chatting over the games. But good fun so far. Rocket League, Psionics being kind enough to lend their game for the day to show these congressmen and congresswomen what esports is all about.
Well, what's nice about Rocket League too is it's a nice casual experience, and whether you haven't played an esport before, say like a first-person shooter or even an RPG, you can really resonate with Rocket League because it is very similar to very traditional sports as we here in the industry like to call it these days. Very close to soccer, a little bit of hockey in there as well. You do have the cars in there, so it's not really close to many racing games because they are technically RC cars at the end of the day. But, it's all around just boost management. But more importantly, we're out here having fun.
That is very true. You know, I was never very good at racing games. Were you ever good at racing?
No, my brother always decimated me in every racing game until I got a racing wheel.
Could he drive manual?
He always drove manual with a controller. I never understood how he did that.
So
never understood.
I would always go, when you'd go to the arcade and they had like the booths and they'd have like the little stick in the corner, right? So I never learned how to drive manual. I would sit there when I was younger and I would assume I just had to move it up to 4 right at the beginning.
Max speed.
Max speed. That's all that meant to me. And I never won, surprisingly enough. Never won.
You're really limiting yourself to the to RPM at that point too. I mean,
yeah, I would get frustrated and I would just start to do this with the trigger, go 1 through 4 and see what would happen. And again, I still lost.
It's got to be able to put it at the highest number, right? I mean, you put it up to the maximum number. I mean, surely it means you're going to be going up to the maximum speed too.
That's what I thought,
Yeah.
and my car disagreed.
Yeah.
And I still
Don't want to be
learned.
trying that with your car in real life either. That's not exactly healthy for it.
I did have someone attempt to teach me manual one time, and the whole car smelled like burning rubber.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah. Yeah.
And end of that story. I still don't know how to drive manual, and I probably never will.
Driving manual is tough. You heard it here from Katie Bedford.
But not a concern in Rocket League.
That's right. No, because these are technically RC cars that are on the field for them, so they're not going to be feeling the punishment of a manual drive as well too. So that would actually be pretty exciting too if we ever see any congressmen and senators playing in a racing game such as like a NASCAR game, for example. That'd be pretty exciting. See them go chasing around in ovals. How many times can they spin out?
Barriers.
Do they know about PSI control?
Someone would spin and start going backwards. It would happen. Everyone's done it.
How many caution laps are we actually going to be giving?
How many barriers will be obliterated? All right. Well, it looks like we're ready to keep things moving right along. We have another interview set up here in just a minute. Pokemon Panda, I will see you in just a couple minutes. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so
Hi.
much for joining me. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I am wonderful. I get to be here. I get to talk about esports in politics, and that's a great feeling, I think.
Yeah.
So again, I'm your host, Katie Bedford. If you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Dao Win. I'm the executive director of Future Forum. It's a group of 49 young members of Congress who today are supporting esports and learning more about this really exploding industry. And we're so excited that you're here today, Katie.
Yeah, it's so exciting for me as well, and something I'm curious about. So coming into this, what inspired the Future Forum? How did all of this start to come about?
Yeah, so Future Forum was established by Congressman Eric Swalwell, who's been in headlines recently, a couple of years ago, in recognition of this really need to have a voice at the table here in Congress for young Americans, millennials, and now Gen Z Americans who are getting really involved in government and civic engagement and speaking out on issues that they really care about. And so we established this group a couple of years ago. There weren't that many members of Congress who qualified as young, but thanks to in this last election cycle, a lot of fresh new faces here in Congress.
Saw some changes.
Yeah, some changes, and for the first time, we have the most diverse group of members in history. So it's really exciting.
That's awesome. And what is the growth of that been like with this new class, this freshman class coming in? How much interest, how much growth did you see coming into the Future Forum?
Oh wow! I mean, it's amazing. About 3 years ago, we had 25 members of Congress who qualified to be a part of our group, and it's doubled in size to now 49 members.
That is excellent. You love to hear that. Of course, many representatives, and of course, we can't forget the senators as well. But something that's interesting to me is, along with that rise in membership interest that must have skyrocketed as well. I would imagine questions about what is esports, what is this industry, how is it impacting, growing adults and youth in their constituencies, and how have you seen that kind of grow as well?
Yeah, so actually a couple of months ago, we had Mark Depp, who is the UCI Esports Director, established the first collegiate team, I believe, in the country, come and talk to our group of members about how esports is a creator of jobs. It's also a great way for students who are engaged in STEM majors, in school to kind of get plugged into this industry. The creative industry is also extremely interconnected with esports, whether you're working in sound, in software engineering, software development, graphics, right? There's so much. And so our group of members, we represent really young constituencies, all of whom are getting really engaged with esports, but especially through Twitch, right? And we're seeing a lot of members of Congress starting to engage now with younger members or younger audiences through Twitch. And, I think that's just speaks so much to the evolution of government having to keep up with technologies nowadays and use that to connect with young people.
When were your first kind of early experiences with civic engagement? When were there things that you started saying, like, this means something to me, this is something I want to engage with, this is something that's important?
Yeah, well, so I've been working on Capitol Hill for 8 years, ever since I graduated from college. Kind of fell into it, started the traditional route as an intern for a member of Congress in Los Angeles, started working for Congressman Adam Schiff, who's the House Intelligence Committee chair, and kind of, worked my way through a couple of different gigs as in policy. So I think there's just no other type of job here in Washington, D.C. that, kind of puts you at the center of federal lawmaking, and to get the chance to represent districts and advocate for them on behalf advocate on their behalf on issues like healthcare and college affordability, climate change, you name it. It's so, I feel extremely lucky to be here.
Now, something, I guess you could say, like modern technology, if you will. Of course, there's always progress every year. You've mentioned it, Twitch. Now, been around for a while, but continuing to grow. You think, things like Twitch, Mixer. There's a lot of platforms, online streaming, etc. Again, the rise of esports, if you will. Again, also been around for a while, but now really starting to see mainstream movement. How do you think those things will help impact youth engagement with government?
Yeah, I think anytime that we can find a way to bridge the gap between young people and government is just so important. I think that a lot of the times, young people get this bad rep for like not caring about, not caring about the issues or just not tuning in. And it's simply not true, right? I think a lot of people, you don't have to look much farther than recently, like March for Our Lives or those types of movements or the Me Too movement to see that young people do care. It's just how do we provide the opportunities for folks to engage with one another and, it's really just getting on live streams like this and being able to do that. Yeah.
So for perhaps some of the people who may be curious about government, curious about politics, but aren't as engaged, but are on these platforms, are involved in, say, the gaming industry or so on, what would you say to them about why they should also become more interested in government and play maybe more of an active role?
Government, it's just a part of, kind of our daily lives. Everything you can think of that, whether it is the person who can't get access to the medication that they need, or the person who's stuck in traffic because the infrastructure is so bad all the time.
We all know the bad roads. We all know them. And construction.
Yeah. Or, somebody who just can't pay off their student loans, right? I mean, all of those issues have a tie to government. And, a part of what we do here, and especially through Future Forum, is make sure that people know, if you have a problem, we want your representatives to hear about it. And we want to engage with you and figure out together what kind of solutions we can push forward, through through policy, through advocacy, through communication, all of those things.
Have you encountered any, I don't want to say necessarily difficulties, but kind of roadblocks in being able to explain the Future Forum and the industry at large to representatives or senators who maybe have not dabbled too much yet? Have you encountered any difficulties there?
Well, Katie, it's so interesting. I mean, we are still a new caucus of members and growing. We have a lot of very respected policymakers who have been around for a while. No, I don't think we've had any issues explaining what we're all about.
That's great.
Yeah, I think people really understand that, young people want to see other members of Congress here, no matter how old they are, who understand the issues that they care about and are very closely related. In fact, a lot of our members of Future Forum, a lot of them still have student loan debt. It's just they can relate in a way that I think some of their colleagues may not be able to, but a lot of our members play video games. We've got Congresswoman Hill from California who plays video games. We've got a couple of members who have important kind of tech startup communities in their districts that are contributing to this creative industry. So I think you've got a lot of folks who are very closely connected to
that is wonderful to hear. Again, you love to hear that. You love to know that, again, no matter where you are in the country, people care and are interested here in Washington, D.C., which can sometimes feel maybe disconnected to some folks. But to that note, then, what are some of your goals? What are markers that Future Forum is looking to hit?
Yeah. Our work is really guided around three main things. So we continue to seek out ways to bridge the divide between young Americans and government. We also want to empower young people. We want to get you out there to vote and to make sure that you are part of the process, that you make your concerns heard. And we want to empower you with the information to make those decisions. Why is it that, for example, a government shutdown is hurtful to you and your family and your future? How can we talk about the best way to address the student loan crisis that we really have in this country? All of those issues. And then thirdly, we want to make sure that we are using this our group of young members of Congress to inspire the next generation of leaders and make sure that young people go into public service and do things that are helpful to our community.
That is wonderful. Now, I think we're about to start getting into our next game here any second, but any parting words, anything about Future Forum that you would like to say before we head into more Rocket League?
No, the only thing I have to say is stay tuned. We've got some really great members of Congress who are doing amazing work. So hope you'll follow us. Our Instagram is @Future Forum Congress.
Wonderful. And again, this is Dow Win with Future Forum. Again, here we're about to get into some Rocket League in just a couple minutes. Thank you so much for joining me, and let's go play some more games.
Okay.
Wonderful. Right. All right, well, I think we're getting into it now. You can see the leaderboard right in front of you. Florida leading with 4 points, New York close behind with 3, and Maryland trailing, but still a chance to catch up, sitting at 1 point in third place.
Got to believe that after Florida lost that first game, they're going to come back with a vengeance for losing to New York. Got to expect New York to be doing the same too, but our second game coming through here for you all is going to be Guam versus California. A couple more sunny areas of the world. Be able to combat against each other. And a game that they never played before. So, That's what's most exciting here, too, is get to see them work out the kinks of the game of Rocket League. Gonna be able to see how they fare against each other as well. Who will remember to use the boost and who's going to explode who? There's one thing that we definitely got. What was really exciting out of the last game as well for you all from Team Florida was that you got to see a little bit more of the diversity of how 2v2 Rocket League actually works too, playing the defenders. That's especially where it comes close to, I guess, would be almost like a backyard soccer game when we were younger as well. You always want to make sure that you always have the goal under wraps, make sure that you always have the ball to be cleared and setting up for those goals to come through. There's a lot of fun ways that you could do that in Rocket League. So, gonna have to see how they end up combating against each other.
Ah, see, they were checking their phones like me. I think they need a couple more smiles on their faces. There we go.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Go.
Nice. Nice. Big smiles.
Good.
Big smiles.
It's a good day on the hill when you get to play video games and hang out.
Actually though, it's a
Yeah.
nice casual event for them to come in here, welcome themselves to the world of esports. So, yeah.
Esports. No hyphen.
Yeah, no hyphen, no capital S. Capital E is okay.
At the start of a sentence or in a, proper noun.
Yeah. I before E, except after C.
You know what? With the English language, that never holds. Everything's wrong, except esports. Don't capitalize the S and no hyphens. I don't know why I'm gesturing at the camera like they can see me.
Because you want to make sure as adamant as you just said it, you want to make sure that they truly felt it, and that's what matters more than anything. Is
feel it in your bones.
Yeah.
And actually,
as a commentator myself, I feel every word in my bones. It is literally my job. So
it literally vibrates through the headset and sometimes the bass. And on that note, if you're a little confused about what we're saying, whenever it cuts back to like that, you can see right there. Bad.
We're breaking the red squiggly
Don't
line,
do
ladies
that.
and gentlemen.
All right. Looks like we're getting into things. It is going to be California now versus Guam. California led by Congresswoman Katie Hill. Great name, Katie, I think.
That's a little biased, don't you think?
I mean, yeah, but,
okay.
It's still a good name. It's a good
As long
name.
as you know.
From a Katie to a Katie, good luck.
That's the thing, though. Guam right off rip, though. Getting first touch on the ball. No clearance for California in the goal. There it is again, just right down center. Moving their way over top with the ball. Over all the defenders as they were trying to jostle for position right off break there. Using the boost. Bada bing, a bada boom. Going up 2-0. 4 minutes, 55 seconds. Already on the clock.
Wow,
going
California,
up 2-0.
I'm
Yeah.
going to need you to step that up a little bit.
Gonna have to come out here with the gate. Ooh, double trades coming through here in the reset. So it's a current 1v1. Now spawned back in across the board. Gonna have Guam in control of the ball here. Good clearance coming through from California. Low on boost, gonna be able to pick up the small pack. Need a little bit more than that so that way you can make your way back downfield. Now you have both Guam fighting themselves over who's gonna be clearing the ball themselves. That allows California to get back in control and throw it back into the corner of Guam. I'm going to see if they can get any sort of setup coming through here from either of these teams. Good drift maneuver coming out here as well from Guam. Just trying to stay in control. I mean, this is truly their game at this point. You can play this very patiently. You don't have to play aggressive at this point as well. You can end up just trying to keep it in their side, keep it in the center court as well. It's just barely outside.
Not gonna go in.
And then Guam comes through to spoil California of their first goal. California just inches away from getting that goal as well. So you got to make sure that you get it through the line into the goal. You know you made it when the giant explosion comes through and you go blasting over to the other side.
And no explosion yet for California. Still down 2-0 to Guam. However, leading overall, I believe, in points. One ahead of New York. I think 4 total in all their rounds.
Oh, yeah. Well, you see where they can end up really pulling themselves ahead as well. As there is 4 points in the lead as well. So you can, even in this game, if you get yourself up to 4 points, you can end up really setting yourself up for success. Going to have California just going and chase down there, but the ball was already clear. Wasn't going to be able to make it. Then there, the corner shot, however, does make it in, and that is Guam going up 3-0 against California. 3 minutes, 15 seconds left.
I think that was an accidental. Oh, it was Guam. Okay, I almost thought that California scored on themselves.
No.
Not ideal.
It was an ideal situation for their defense, though. They were ended up playing very close to the gate of the goal as well. Ooh, full-on boost right there. And that's the one troublesome thing. If you're the one that touches the ball first, but you have your enemy blasting their way towards you with full boost, you're probably going to end up going down. That's an open net for Guam, and that is their 4th goal. They are even in the lead as far as points are concerned.
Rushing California. Guam now up 4-0 with 3 minutes of playtime left.
Definitely a lot of opportunities for them to score many points. This is a point-based situation as well, no elimination, so that way they can end up really pulling themselves ahead.
Down, Pokemon Panda, but not out. I believe in Katie. You know what? They may down 5. That's okay. It's okay. I believe.
Is that a caster's curse at its finest right there?
You know what? You might be right, but I still believe.
I know this is like when you're
She's all
first.
smiles. Look at that. Katie knows she can do it.
Well, that's the thing about games in a nutshell. Esports as well, too. Even for the pros, they always have to remember that you have to have fun, and that's what it really comes down to. Right off rip, there goes California,
And
putting themselves on the
does
board.
it.
Wonderfully played. Wonderfully played.
Caster's curse, nah.
You were probably just waiting for that one, too. You're like,
Yeah.
I really hope I didn't do that.
Yeah, I felt it in my soul. I knew.
All right, 2 minutes, 59 seconds. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Can California pull themselves back? Collision coming through. Respawn now coming out. Going to be back to 2v2. One in the defensive spot as Guam looks to try to get a 6th goal in the lead. Now it's going to be California running downfield with it. That is an open goal, but it's going to get cleared by Guam, but it's still in close proximity to the goal. Can they actually make it in there? And they do. California putting themselves up back-to-back goals. 2 minutes, 35 seconds. They are 3 down, but they are definitely not out.
I told you. They're making a comeback. Katie's making a run.
Katie out here for other Katies who just wants to see everybody win the name.
It's a good name.
It is. It is. Unbiased, by the way. Good collision coming through there in the center.
It's all for good fun.
Oh yeah, of course. And again, like even some of the pros up at the highest settings of esports as well. One thing that they always have to remind themselves of is that this is a game. It's just like a pickup baseball game. It's just like a backyard soccer match as well. As close as Rocket League is to that traditional sport, got to be able to have fun with it as well in the spirit of competition, all while winning. Good wraparound coming through here from Guam. Still on their side of the court though. They look to clear it out, and there it goes.
Open net.
It's a very open net, too, and they are en route to scoring this goal.
Oh.
Good save coming through from California. They are firing off on all cylinders in this latter of the game as well. That is an open net now for California, just bum rushing their way through. 5-3 it is. California putting themselves up back to back to back now with their goals.
You can feel the confidence building. Guam's looking shaky.
Competition
They're
is rising.
They're getting nervous.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, minute 43 seconds, too. I mean, we saw 3 goals within a minute of themselves, too. California looks to answer back in kind. It's going to be first touch coming through here for Guam.
And wide open. Maybe we see a 6-3.
Oh, misses with the save. It's going to be a goal here. Guam.
Our highest scoring game of the day so far.
High
By
octane.
far.
I mean, who needs... I mean, the best defense is a good offense.
That is very true.
Yeah. In some cases, I suppose. All right, here. Again, collision, right off break. Playing very patiently here. Guam looking to secure themselves a 7th goal.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They did
not
not
obeying
obey
the speed limit. No more.
You are going to jail, sir. That is absolutely
Someone
a ticket.
pull him over. Give him a ticket, slow him down. Guam's doing a great job of being in control of this ball, too. Again, with the lead, they're playing very patiently, and that's what you want to see. Especially, you don't necessarily want to be going for the YOLO plays where you can end up trying to get the goal continuously at this point. Just keeping the ball in your court, keeping it in your advantage as well. Good stuff as well. Guam just kind of playing wall ball with himself here.
And Panda, if you could educate those who may not know, what does YOLO mean?
Well, you only live once.
There you go. You do indeed only live once.
You can take it that much further, and we here in esports we call it the YOLO Swaggins, and typically what that ends up stating is that you are going to go for such a crazy play. No one would ever go for it. 30 seconds left now. Gonna have to see if California can go for any of these plays. It's just gonna go right in, and it's gonna be a 7-3 4-point lead now for Guam. 26 seconds left.
California looked like they had some gas, some momentum, but did not last too long. Again, Guam extending that lead 7-3 over California, over Congresswoman Katie Hill.
Ooh, right off rip. Who needs a defense when you just bum rush your way in there?
You got Katie.
Yeah, that's right. Force your way onto the ball. First touch coming through and through a goal. Guam's defender, just like a deer in headlights, quite literally. Didn't do anything. Starstruck. 3-point lead now, 23 seconds left. Yeah. Oh, man.
It's a good word. It's not used often enough.
Not enough, that's for sure. Not enough.
Now, can California bamboozle their way to 3 more goals in 10 seconds? That's a hard ask.
Gonna have to see if they can juggle here on the wall. It can definitely play out the same. Good clearance coming through here. Guam's gonna be able to close this out. The ball is being juggled in the air, but it touches the ground. Guam is going to take this in a very, very high octane and a high scoring match as well. That was 7-4.
Guam, I think, quite handedly going to propel themselves into first place with those 7 goals. As no one else has gotten close. I think the highest was 4 goals.
That's
and,
right.
And I believe maybe that was Florida. Now California tying them up as well.
That's insane.
Hot
They
Rocket
did-
League happening here.
They did it in one
DC.
game.
One game.
One
I
game,
know.
yeah. One game,
High
going to be able to
octane.
pull themselves in the lead, too. I mean, we saw just back-to-back goals as well, just right off rip. The first touch goals coming through within 10 seconds of the game even being played.
Some wide open nets.
It's a struggle out here.
It is. It is. Sometimes you just, watch the ball just lackadaisically roll on in. But I think, the woman of the hour, one of them at least, Congresswoman Katie Hill, going to sit down with us to talk about Rocket League, talk about video games. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us.
How's it going?
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm
a
terrible at
solid
this game,
comeback.
apparently. Oh,
A no,
we made it on the
4
board.
Goals.
We made it on the
you
board.
made it on the board 4 times, multiple times.
Yeah, thank you.
That was the rush.
Yeah, it was great. I was saying next time we can do a first-person shooter. That's more my thing.
All right. More my thing, too.
Oh,
but,
nice,
But,
nice.
I found out Rocket League deceptively easy looking.
Yeah, it's not as easy. I mean, I forgot that you could jump, so I wasn't using that to.
It's okay.
full
But you know what,
potential.
though? I saw some excellent passes.
Thank you.
It was good. It was there.
Appreciate it.
So to that note, then, what to those who may not know, what is bringing you here today? What is bringing you to play Rocket League, to be here and as I said, kind of participate?
Yeah. Well, I'm one of the youngest members of Congress. I was the youngest person by far who was elected ever in my district, and the youngest in California. And I think that part of what I see as my purpose in being here is not just representing my district, but it's representing a new generation of people who are getting involved in politics, who believe that it's our time to stand up and address some of the toughest challenges that we're facing. And I think that we have to really be creative about how we're reaching out to people. We have to think about meeting people where they're at. It's not just going to be, press conferences and mailers. I mean, it's different, and this is, I think, a unique way to do it. And I'm hopeful that this reaches an audience that otherwise would not normally see a politician. So.
And from your constituents, what feedback have you heard so far? I mean, obviously, I imagine among some of them at least, video games, esports is going to be a passion of theirs. It's going to be something they care about, especially in California, which is an epicenter for a lot of what goes on in that industry.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what the feedback is after this. But we had a lot of young people who showed up for the first time to vote in the 2018 midterms, twice as high as it's ever been in a midterm, and I think it is through going to these, kind of different avenues that we were able to reach people, and so hopefully this is kind of an extension of that. And yeah, I think that it's just exciting to have these sorts of different kinds of outreach, and that's why Future Forum to me is important. It's thinking about, what's the impact of the policies that we're going to be having on people who normally wouldn't have a voice.
Now, tell me about your district
Yeah.
that you represent. Tell me about that.
Sure. So my district is just north of Los Angeles. It includes part of LA County, the northmost part of LA County. A lot of people know us because we've got Magic Mountain. And it includes part of Ventura County and Simi Valley. So we have, it's a very middle-class district. Mine's the first time that it's been represented by a Democrat when I took over that seat. Ever in its current form. And so we've got a lot of cops, firefighters, nurses, people who work in aerospace. We're just normal people, and I think it's telling that we're able to try and actually have somebody. I don't come from a political background, right? I was running a nonprofit, and when I started running, I was 29 years old. And I think it just shows you that people are tired of politics as usual, and they want something different. They want somebody who they feel like has been through the same experiences that they have, and who is willing to address them on that level, and not, work on behalf of big corporations and special interests. And that's been, the theme of my campaign, and hopefully people know that that's how I'm continuing to legislate.
So what kind of gave you that itch then to take the plunge into something like running a campaign, running for office, and then, of course, getting elected?
Yeah, so I had worked on the issue of homelessness and housing in particular. So I ran the largest homeless services organization in California before I ultimately decided to do this. And we had passed major legislation on the same day that Donald Trump got elected in 2016. And I basically had people coming into my office crying, saying, what does it mean for us that the Affordable Care Act might get repealed, and this can literally impact thousands and thousands of lives of the people that we were, trying to help. And I didn't have a good answer, except for to say the first thing is to take back the House. I wanted to get involved in some way. Found out that my district was key in us doing that. And eventually someone said, well, why don't you run? And I thought about it and decided, well, if ever there was a time, this is the time. And we had this super grassroots and low odds campaign, and we pulled it off. So it's pretty exciting.
That is exciting indeed. I think we're going to keep moving things along here.
Awesome.
Again, California Congresswoman Katie Hill joining us, Future Forum and ESA, for some good Rocket League fun. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right, again, I just said it, but if you're joining us right now, if you're just tuning in, we are coming to you live from Washington, D.C. in the Longworth building. Of course, we have representatives here from their districts around the U.S. They're going to be playing Rocket League, and someone who knows a lot about kind of our younger generations, the new kids on the block. Josh Hopkins, thank you so much for joining me.
I haven't seen you in forever.
I know, it's been a while, but of course you run the game gym.
Yeah.
Marilyn, tell me about that. Of course, I know I love it, but everyone who's watching, tell them about what you do and why it is so important.
Sure. So we have a youth esports training center, and the goal is to give kids an avenue to play games like sports. So we're adding the structure of a coach, of setting goals, working towards competitions, and really focusing on competition. And then we also are really focusing on coach development. There are very, very few coaches in the esports world. So we're trying to help people realize that you can look up to people that are in your community who are crushing it like you and other people who are, yeah, I know, right?
He's so nice. He's so nice to me.
But it's awesome. There's a lot of local people who aren't Ninja, who although they're great, mentors, and he's a good dude, he's not somebody that you could reach out to and ask him questions and things like that. So, in traditional sports, coaches are such an important part of things, and we're trying to bring that to the world of esports.
That is awesome. So I guess you could say in layman's terms for maybe parents around the area, Virginia, Maryland, D.C., they've got a kid who's itching to play video games, and they want to find a productive thing for them to do. You would describe the game gym as maybe a camp, or how would you describe it to the parents who maybe are not as fluent in our lingo?
I feel you. So it's just like sports. You drop your kid off, and we've got a practice session where you've got a coach, where you've got your team that you practice with, and we're working towards competition. So just like soccer or basketball or anything else like that, we have a season, we work towards goals, and our thing is it's not coming to the game gym for a day is not going to make you a better gamer, right, and it's not going to curb your gaming addiction or anything like that. Our thing is through the ups and downs of the season, treating it like sports, and going to the competition at the end of the season and either winning or losing. It doesn't really matter. It's the process. It's the ups and downs, and that's when you learn about yourself, and that's when you kind of see what you're really made of.
So you're teaching them life lessons as well.
Totally. We kind of treat ourselves like the middle school gym teachers of esports. Our job is to give everybody an introduction to this world. But also we're really focused on teaching skills like leadership, communication skills, how to be a good winner, be a good loser, work with a team that may not be the team that you want to work with. You know, don't
But
get to do
cooperation,
that.
of course, is important. You can't
Totally.
always have it exactly the way you want, but learning how to
Very rarely.
work around that and within it is
Yep.
important.
It's really important, and it's awesome because our kids are so awesome. Like, they're super cool, and you know, for the first time in their life, somebody is telling them that what they enjoy, what they're good at, is cool.
Yeah.
And it does a lot for confidence. You know, the two things that we try to really provide for people are an avenue to be, you know, confident, because you're good at this. It gives you confidence. Like, I'm good at what I do. It gives me confidence.
Well, and for
And
someone to acknowledge that. Say,
it's
yes,
really
you are good
important.
at this, and it's
Yeah.
okay that you're
Yep.
good at it.
And even more so a coach, somebody you look up to, and that kind of thing. So mentorship, education, and those soft skills. We're trying to make the idea of like an esports community center a reality.
That is exciting. And to that note, then, you've seen a lot of growth recently. So tell us when you were founded, how you've grown to this point now.
Yeah, it's been an awesome rocket ship. We started about 1.5 years ago, and we opened our doors May 1st of 2018. And I actually just drove back from working camps up in Philadelphia with Nerd
wow.
Street Gamers and
Yeah.
local hosts. So we have now expanded to multiple locations. We've got the game gym, kind of our hashtag is Game Local, and it's growing, which is pretty cool.
Now, how did you conceptualize this idea in the beginning? When did this kind of come to you as something that a void that needed to be filled?
It was kind of two things. One, I was trying to get better at a game myself. I was trying to get better at Street Fighter, and for anybody who's at home, it's a tough game.
I'm awful at all fighting games, all of them.
Well, and one of the hardest ways to learn how to play is via YouTube. Like, if you're sitting next to somebody who knows how to play, it's one of the easiest ways to learn how to play is just to talk, because they can give you a little feedback and it's more personal. And so I was frustrated in the sense that, like, you want to learn how to play basketball and you go to a community center, a court. You want
It's
to
a
learn
little
how
tough
to
if you're
swim.
learning basketball a la YouTube videos.
Totally. Oh, yeah, it's impossible, you know? And so I was like, why is there nowhere in our community where somebody can go and learn esports? Like, that just didn't exist yet. So then it kind of shifted to it didn't exist. And then it kind of shifted to, all right, well, we need a computer, a kid, and a coach. And there's the idea of an esports coach doesn't exist yet. So we created the idea of an esports coach. You're not an Overwatch coach. You're not a Rocket League coach. You're not a Smash coach. You're an esports coach. And that's a new phenomenon, and I'm pretty proud of the fact that, you know, our job is to give our kids a million opportunities to learn, and I feel like we're doing that.
So how many kids are in a typical class?
We try to keep it to like 10 to 15. And then, you know, we have classes, we can do group lessons, just like sports. You know, you have your team, but also if you have a free throw coach or like something for basketball or quarterback coach, like, you get some extra instruction. And then we also do camps, we do workshops, we hold events and things like that. So we're kind of all over the place.
That is awesome. Now,
Yeah.
something that means a lot to me is for young girls who are growing up and maybe like me really like video games. And obviously in my personal experience, I didn't have this option. I didn't have kind of the acceptance of come to this thing, like playing video games is great, it's fine. So what have you seen? Have you seen more of an influx in younger girls coming in and participating as well?
Totally. It's definitely increasing, and I think also, you know, it's just going to take time. We are now in this amazing age where we're very inclusive and we're pushing things, but that's where we are right now. But the issue is that we're dealing with what has happened the past 20 years, which is, you know, oh, here girls don't play games and we're not inclusive.
They do play games.
And things like that. But that was the conception. Right. So now we're in this new phase of things, and I think that every day we're going to have more people coming through. It's going to be more inclusive, and I personally think it's going to make things way better.
So you've expanded a lot. You said in about 1.5 years since you started. So tell me a little bit more about the Philly event that you just got back from.
Yeah, it was super cool, completely crazy, but awesome. Nerd Street Gamers is an awesome tournament organizer, and they have a venue called Local Host in Philadelphia, and we are running camps for them for the next month. So it's us bringing our programming, our vibe, our inclusivity, our kind of positivity up and adding our programming to what is already a really awesome community that the Philadelphia Nerd Street guys have built.
What are your next steps? I asked a few other people this as well, but goalposts, markers you're trying to hit and achieve.
I mean, big time. There's no reason why there shouldn't be or could be a game gym in every city in America. We see the positivity that providing the confidence and the coaching gives to these kids. And unfortunately, kids are falling through the cracks as long as, people are not looking out for them. And coaches look out for you. It's like a vital part of the coach. And so personally, it's my goal to get our programming and our vibe and our message of positivity and inclusion into as many cities as possible. So we're going to be here, we're going to own our backyard, and then we're going to own the rest of the U.S.
I like that. What has it been like for you to come to an event like this to see kind of the congressmen and women participating in this?
It's amazing. I mean, this is what I feel like the future is just going to incorporate more and more of. As more people have an understanding of video games, accept video games and esports as a thing, understand the value of esports, understand how it could be a positive influence on your community, how it could be lucrative for your community. You see a lot of small schools and other places who are using esports to bring people to their university. So there's a lot of economic growth. So if I'm a congressman, I'm really excited about the opportunities that esports can provide to my community. And it's really cool to see all the energy in the room and to see everybody backing it.
That is certainly true. So before you started the game gym, what led you there? What kind of made you have that spark, that desire to kind of do this for kids? Yeah,
I was a swimmer, and I grew up at pools, and I loved being at the pool in the summer.
I can hardly swim.
Well, if you want a lesson, I'm happy to.
I can tread water. I'm not going to drown, but it's not pretty. If you're go swim a lap, I'm gonna flounder.
Give me half an hour, and I'll make you better.
All right. Well, see, they're born to be a coach,
right? So, well, that was exact. So yeah. So what ended up happening was I loved those days, and we had these amazing rainy days where you'd close down the pool and somebody would pull out a Mario Kart or an N64.
There we go.
And you just hang with your friends and play games in the rain, and it was really amazing. It was inclusive. It was fun. It was casual, and the esports community doesn't have that. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting at my desk and I was working at a job that I really enjoyed, but I didn't feel free. I wasn't free. I was doing what somebody told me to do. I had to be there at 9. I had to be there at 6, and it pushed me to really develop this idea and pursue it, because I'm not meant to sit at a desk all day. That's not my vibe.
What I think that is an important point to make is that not everyone is built for a 9-to-5 or a desk job or kind of what you traditionally might think of as work. And that's also a part of what we're doing here, is to remind people that, a job's a job and it might be different from yours, but it's just as impactful and just as important and just as okay. And especially within esports as well, getting that, I guess you would say, getting the word out on that it is okay and it's ready to go. But I think actually now we're ready to get into things. I just saw it on my screen. So Josh, again with Game Gym, thank you so much for joining me.
You,
and we're going to bring Pokemon Panda back on so we can see already a goal scored. We'll see what's going on.
I'm so sorry that the camera needs to be on them. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you, Josh.
From one member of the game gym to the next, here we are.
You are. I forgot that. You are a member of the game gym.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Going to end up having Texas versus Virginia. For Texas representation, we're going to have Mark Veasey.
All right. Yes. Texas and Virginia. See Texas in blue, Virginia in orange there. Game number 4. Who will come out on top?
Well, Texas already came out of the gate, already scored 1. 30 seconds already left on the clock as well. We're going to have Virginia in orange versus Texas in blue. Texas again with the lead in 1. A little bit of bumper car action coming out here. The gate in the corner of the boost as well. No clearance of the ball quite yet. Texas needs to be wary of this as well. Virginia very close to being able to put themselves on the board. But with the lead, again, you can play this very patiently, so that way you can not necessarily allow your enemy to get a goal, but you don't want to give them the space to be able to get one themselves, does Texas. So now Virginia just trying to feel comfortable with this as well. The controls can be a little troublesome if you've never played the game of Rocket League before, which, well, most of them haven't. So going to see how they fare this one out now. Ball has been cleared by Texas. Net is slightly open as well. More bumper car action. Both nets open, in fact. Now Virginia's starting to run it downfield with it towards the corner
Virginia
boost.
tie it up?
Looking for the goal themselves. Gets a little bit of a setup, but no follow through is there. Texas, smart as can be, has one in the net while one tries to challenge the ball as well. Oh, this is
A little bit of confusion here.
that's my favorite part about Rocket League in a nutshell, is that instead of just fighting the ball and trying to bounce the ball, you just go against the opponent. You just bounce it back and forth as well. In the goal,
And
there
there
it
we go.
goes. Virginia gonna be able to put themselves on the board, even things up 1-1. But it did take them a little bit of time. It took them a solid minute 30 for the goal to come through.
But they got it.
But they ended up getting it, and it's tied up as well. And if they can keep this up for the next 3 minutes, it will go into overtime. We have to see how much more defense is going to have to come through. First touch comes out for Virginia. Throws it into the corner of Texas. Texas again, playing very defensively, playing very methodically at that as well. The ball in the clear comes through. It is headed
And
right
it might
towards the
go
net.
right in.
Virginia, no one in the net at all. Texas going up 2-1.
And again, this is Texas versus Virginia. Texas led by Congressman Veasey. Taking the lead here, 2-1.
We'll have to see how Virginia ends up bouncing this back too. More patient play style seems to really suit them, as well as Texas. A little bit more aggressive, but they're in the sense where they also like to play defensively as well. They always have one in the goal, and they always have one challenging the ball as well. Typically in Rocket League, when you have the 3v3 scenario, that's how you end up doing it. You have your defenders, you have your midfield, and then you have your offensive maneuver as well, trying to set up the midfielder for success. A little bit more of a nuance here as we have a 2v2 on the board going towards the Virginia goal.
And it
Can't
looks
make
like
it there in time. No boost available, and Texas will be going up 3-1.
And it kind of looks like they may have inadvertently scored on themselves.
It's very possible.
Yep, that is
very possible.
indeed what happened. Not ideal, but that's okay. You can recover.
You know, in not just in our industry, but in many places as well, we have a saying. It's it really do be like that sometimes.
It really do be.
It really do be. All right, first touch again. Texas throwing it into the corner as well. The net is open, but it goes over to the corner as well. No setup available. You see Texas now being able to set themselves up defensively. They know that they have to have one in the goal as well. They don't want to give up the lead too easily.
And it may go right in.
Challenging the ball as the goalie himself misses wildly, and Virginia able to pull themselves back and make this a 1-point advantage for Texas.
And Virginia scored on everyone themselves. Texas.
Yeah.
They do not discriminate on who they score on.
Run in the ring, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, scoring yourself, scoring the
Closing
enemy.
that gap to 3-2. Texas still in the lead there, again, led by Congressman Veasey.
That's right. That's right. See, Texas, they are leaning into it, man. They are out here trying to get this W. Let's not forget that Guam, in our last match as well, scored 7 points in one game. Keep in mind, you probably won't have enough time for that one as it's down to 1:50. Good defense coming through from Texas. Be able to use a little bit of that jump and boost advantage. Now the goal is wide open. Knocks it straight towards the goal.
Oh, but barely.
Hits the corner post. But there's no defenders available for Virginia. But they miss off the backboard.
They may tie
of
it
as
up
well.
right here.
The goal is wide open. Virginia's going to be able to tie these things up.
And
3-3.
there they did it. A little high five there. Tying things up 3-3.
They're feeling it, man.
It could be 4-3, but no, just 3-3. They gave one of those goals to Texas.
Imagine if that goal went over
very
to
kind.
the other side.
It's very kind of them.
The generosity is real.
Yes.
Great use of boost right off the rip. Trying to throw it into their advantage. Virginia looking to take the lead in this game for the first time. We are down to 1:20 again. A tie game. When the clock goes down means that we will reach overtime until another person goals. Great bump coming through from Texas.
And there we have it.
No defenders in
Texas,
the goal.
4-2-3. Taking the lead again quite quickly.
Yeah, this aggressive play style from Texas works really well for them too. Even when they have the advantage as well, Virginia just needs to be a little bit more patient with themselves and try to make sure that they know that they can end up trying to find themselves in a defender's advantage. But they are always getting these first touches as well. And that forces Texas to play that more defensive style as well. The ball clear comes through. Goalie being played out for Texas. And they still have the lead. 1 minute left on the board here. Gonna have to see if Virginia can pull themselves back, try to make this an even game, and try to force them way into overtime, if not taking the lead themselves. And this is how Texas can end up playing this out. Play it very patiently. You don't have to over-aggress yourself and leave the net open for them. Virginia can take advantage of that. Both of them fighting each other now over the ball.
They're fighting everyone.
Oh, yeah. Fighting yourself, fighting each other.
They're scoring on everyone. They're fighting everyone. And there they go. Tying it up 4-4. Taking away Texas's lead just as fast as they were able to get it.
Big deep breath coming through there for Virginia.
32 seconds left on the clock. Going to overtime if one of these teams cannot pull out a win.
That's right. Wide angle coming through there. Texas was not available to touch the ball in time. The net is slightly open, obviously, for both sides. The ball is in the favor for Virginia on Texas's side. Gonna have to see if they can find any sort of advantage to try to knock this thing back into the net. But now it swings back over to the other side. The net is open. Defender in the goal. Texas off the ring post. Gonna be able to get that bounce back in there.
20 seconds taking the lead once again. 5-4.
Now, let's not forget as well that in that Guam match we saw 3 goals within 30 seconds. So, you know, with 12 seconds left, I mean, you know, anything's possible as well. Texas actually gets the first touch. It's going to miss a little wide here.
7 seconds left.
Maybe down to 5. And this is just very unfortunate.
Going?
You can't get it back over to the other side. It's in the air. The juggle is being played out. Can you continue this out? You cannot. Texas takes the win.
Congratulations there to Texas. A good challenge from Virginia, but not enough to topple the Texans.
Let's not forget about the generosity that Virginia even offered for Texas.
That is
as well.
true.
They did give them one.
It could have been a very different scenario. It could have been 4-4, but Virginia was kind enough to gift Texas with a goal.
Generosity be real out here in Rocket League. For,
generosity, maybe not the ideal quality you want to see in competition, but
it's not the best strategy, but you know, it's one of the nicer ones that you can end up going with as well.
Yeah, it is. It is certainly nice, and there you have it. Though Texas coming out on top, 5-4 over Virginia, and a good game. A lot of back and forth.
Yeah, very well played indeed. And well, I'm gonna end up taking a step away myself yet again. You're gonna be joined by none other than Mark Veasey himself.
Yeah, the Texas Congressman will be coming up here in just a minute. Thank you so much, Panda. I'm sure I will see you soon. Yep.
Hey, how's it going?
Wonderful, Congressman. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah.
How does victory feel?
Victory feels awesome. Victory always feels better than defeat.
Yeah. Rocket League 5-4 over Virginia. How do you feel about that gifted goal, though?
I'll take whatever goal you can get. When I played high school basketball, the coach would always say, take what the defense gives you. So,
and they gave you a goal?
And they gave us a goal. Take what the defense gives you.
Indeed. Now, I want to tell me a little bit about your history in Congress. What made you decide to run? What has brought you to the point here where you're toppling Virginia in Rocket League?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I ran for Congress in 2012. I've been in the state legislature for 8 years previous to that. And before my time in the state legislature, I worked for a U.S. congressman. So for me, you know, being able to have the opportunity to come and serve the area that I'm from, part of the district that I represented in the state house, and part of the area that I worked for the congressman, because I didn't work here, I actually worked in the district when I worked for the U.S. congressman. And so I wanted to be able to better serve my community on federal issues. And so that's really why I ran for Congress.
So what has piqued your interest in what is happening here? ESA, Future Forum, Esports, video games. Why has that caught your eye?
Well, you know, I have a 13-year-old. I have a kid going into the 8th grade. He loves video games. He has a lot of different, you know, systems at home and what have you. He takes it really seriously.
He wants all the new systems, doesn't he?
He wants all the new systems.
I have all the new ones, too.
Yeah.
They're all new, shiny. I'm sure he comes, he's like, Dad, please.
Right, exactly. He knows all about the league plays, where league plays are being held. And he still likes other non-electronic games. He likes Pokemon. But for the most part, he really, really just enjoys just everything that is happening in this industry. And I know that, like, one of his friends, for instance, on the Switch, he was a part of a big tournament. I can't remember the name of the fighting game on the Switch where the different characters.
Super Smash?
Yeah, Super Smash. Yeah, Super Smash. So, like, one of his friends was at a Super Smash tournament. So, he really likes just the whole gaming deal, the gaming community, a lot of the camaraderie and competition around it, the various characters. And he's always talking to me about, Dad, you ought to see how many people are, like, watching Twitch. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really interesting.
A lot, if you didn't know. The answer is a lot of people watch Twitch.
A lot. Dad, you know how much money Ninja makes a year? Just different things like that, so that he's, like, really into it. He gets the Game Informer from GameStop. So I think it's been good for him. As a parent, you always have to make sure that everything is being balanced out, which is tough, because if you would let him this is what he would do all day, obviously. And so you have to make sure that it's all being balanced out, but he loves it.
Everything in moderation.
Everything
that is
in moderation.
absolutely
That's
true.
right.
Now, tell me a little bit, tell me about your son and how he's kind of brought you into video games, but tell me about your district and your relationship with them and what you're trying to do for them here in Congress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, the district that I represent, Dallas, Fort Worth, Irving, Arlington, Grand Prairie, really working class district, a lot of retirees, and games are really big. We have GameStops all throughout the district. I would say that GameStop is probably extremely popular in the various neighborhoods that are represented in my district, and gaming is a really big deal.
I was down there recently in Fort Worth a few months ago for a big esports tournament. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think I know exactly where that was. I don't think it was in the district, but it was nearby. So, but no, absolutely, it's a really, really big deal. And of course, GameStop is even has the big office there.
Yeah.
Like in our area. So, and with our area growing as rapidly as it is, we had 1 million people move to Dallas-Fort Worth area in the last 8 years. Lots of expansion, lots of growth. And so, I'm really interested in how we can continue to play a major role, in gaming, whether it's tournaments, whether it's companies locating to the Dallas-Fort Worth area that specialize in this market. We want to, continue to see how we can, play like a positive role as far as the economy is concerned, with these games.
Now, you started in your state legislator.
Right.
You worked for someone in Congress, and now you are in Congress
Right.
yourself.
That's
so
right.
that experience for you, what's the best part of your job being here now?
The best part of the job being here is just having the number of experts that you have access to that are experts on everything from electronics to privacy to foreign affairs, defense-related issues, the environment, energy. You can find out whatever you want to learn here, whatever you want to be a part of. There's an expert that is willing to either come to Capitol Hill to talk with you, and there are so many here that work inside of this building, expert committee staff, people that have been here for a long time. Some of these staffers are absolutely brilliant, that know everything about the respective issues that they work for the committees and for the members of Congress that they serve. So it's just being able to have that amount of knowledge that you can tap into at any moment really is what's exciting to me.
So what are some of the top issues or concerns from your constituents you've heard? Again, you said a lot of
Healthcare.
working class. You said healthcare is kind of the top one.
Yeah, kitchen table issues, healthcare, jobs, education, immigration. I would say that the quality of life issues are hugely important for the district that I represent. I have the highest uninsured rate out of any congressional district in the country. And we have a lot of retirees, and a lot of the younger people that live in the district, don't earn a lot of money, and so they're really trying to figure out like how they can do better in life. And so the bread and butter issues, the kitchen table issues, are extremely important to the constituents that I serve here in Washington, D.C.
Right. So you said one of the best parts of being in Congress is your access to knowledge, your access to experts in
Right.
subjects, but What is something that surprised you the most, perhaps, about being here that may be different from state legislature when you were there, being Congress in D.C.?
Yeah, the thing that surprised me here the most is just how big Washington, D.C. is. It's not like Austin, to where everything happens under the, as we call it in Austin, the dome. Here in D.C., there are things happening all throughout this city that affect public policy. And you really have to be able to get in the car and go to the Pentagon, be able to go to the Library of Congress, be able to, go to events that are what I call off campus that aren't a part of the Capitol complex. So D.C. is much more spread out. It's a much larger footprint because here in Texas, most of the things that we work on obviously affect the Texas economy and the state of Texas. And with Texas being such a big state, obviously the things that we do can have an impact on other states as well. But here, everything that you does affects the entire country.
Right.
And it's just so much larger. Like, I don't think that I really appreciated just how much of a larger footprint as far as public policy is concerned that is in the city when I first got here.
That is excellent. Well, I think I'll let you go for now. Again, the congressman from Texas taking down Virginia 5-4. Congratulations again on your well-earned Rocket League
Thank you.
win.
I'm excited. It was fun.
Yeah.
Looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah. I hope so. We'll see if Texas can remain on top. Congressman, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you as well. Welcome back, Pokemon Panda.
Thank you.
Andy, I missed you.
Andy, Panda, I always end up telling people I respond to both at this point in my career, so it's okay. You can call me an animal. You can call me by my first name, Mama gave me. It's okay. Gonna be going into our next match here for you all. It's gonna be California versus ESA. Now, we have Congressman Jimmy Gomez, we representing California, playing against Kevin and new CEO Stan of ESA. Now, this is gonna be exciting. What better way to get your feet wet than being put blast on stream during a Rocket League game? That's honestly one of the best ways you could probably end up doing it.
It's about to be do or die.
Yeah.
We'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, just going back to that previous
California or ESA. And again, if you're just tuning in, Team Guam is first in our leaderboard at 7 points, followed by Texas, California, Florida, and Virginia, New York, and Maryland rounding out the bottom three. But there we have it, California looking to try and move up the leaderboard with a first goal over ESA.
Yeah, what's funny about this, too, is ESA is about to try to play upset to try and get California out of the running for the lead, too. But California, we've seen in their previous games here on stream that they are more than up to the task to get things done.
So ESA is really just here to spoil the fun then.
That's right, yeah.
They do not want California to move up into second place. They're tied now with this goal with Team Texas, 5 points for second place. See if ESA can steal the thunder.
That's right. California looking to grasp that lightning, put it into a bottle, and take the lead as well. As they end up getting the ball cleared, ESA has an open goal. Good bait coming through, getting the boost out from ESA, but defense will be there. The ball in the corner. ESA fighting themselves now, trying to get control of the ball. Needs to have one of the defenders. They get control of the ball, and it starts getting cleared. Fully in reverse now, trying to get back into the defensive side is California. As you can see now, ESA trying to play it out, trying to get control of the ball. Ends up getting cleared out by California, but the boost being used in full blast is going to be able to get back down to it and defend it as well. But California, out of nowhere, going to be able to get that second goal and go up 2-0.
Defense not good enough from ESA. The ball rolling really right into the middle of their goal. And all Cali had to do was tap it in. Now, again, that goal will move them up solidly into second place with 6 goals overall, just one behind Team Guam.
Look at that, ESA. Oh, good defense. He was playing possum. You saw that, almost trying to act like he was away from his controller, but ended up just getting a little bit. Yeah. Surprise block coming out from California. Now in control of the ball yet again. Rolling their way downfield like Katie had just mentioned. They are just 2 goals away from actually taking first. 1 goal away now from taking first, and they are even up in first place against Team Guam.
Again, that will tie them up in rather fast fashion with Team Guam there. Andy said it, 7 a pop, and ESA nowhere to be found.
ESA trying to play a little super hyper aggressive there as well. You know, boost coming through as well. Almost got the collision onto California's player. Trying to get the reset as well, but now the ball over on the side of ESA's. Gonna have to see if
Kevin and Stan pick it up. Can they get a goal?
Kevin and Stan trying
Not
to get
this
control of the
time.
ball. It just goes a little bit to the left of the goal, but they still have control. Getting all topsy-turvy with themselves is ESA. And now California looking to run away with it. They have full-on control of the ball, too. Full boost here as well. Good jukes coming through. The ball is set up in center, but just a moment too late. ESA actually gets a bombardment on to California's player, sends them back over to their side.
And now a wide open net.
Ooh!
Not anymore. That
Answers
ball
back in
continue
time.
to roll in. But no one there from ESA to capitalize on that open net.
Good defense coming through from California. Again, they are always utilizing their boost properly, trying to get at least any sort of advantage. The goal is wide open, and now California with the 4th goal in this game. 2 minutes, 34 seconds left on the board. They are taking the lead of this tournament.
This is a walloping for ESA. Kevin and Stan, I believe in you. You got 2 minutes and 34 seconds to get 5 goals.
They had 1:30 to learn how to play the game, and now they're going to come back with a vengeance.
Like thieves in the night, ready to steal away this game from California
Yeah, man.
and ruin their hopes of maintaining their position now with that 4th goal of number 1 in our leaderboard at 8 points overall.
One thing they can't do is they can't go back in time and take those goals away, regardless of the matter. California does have the lead, in fact, and that's going to be ESA going to be able to take the goal.
With a goal!
Now, I don't know about you, California. I don't know if that was fully given them for the open net, but it was wonderfully played for ESA to take advantage of it and put themselves on this board. It won't be a full-on goose egg here for ESA. Going to be able to be 4-1 here, 2 minutes, 10 seconds left.
Pride not completely crushed with a score on the board.
Ooh, great usage off the backboard.
Almost 2, but not quite.
Just a little bit underneath the ball there was ESA, almost got it into the goal, and now just jostling in the midfield, presented by ESA off the backside of the car. California is technically an own goal.
And there we have it, a little maybe assistance from California to help ESA out, but a goal is a goal, as we saw in the Texas-Virginia game. And ESA have brought it up to 4-2 overall, still trailing 2 goals with 1:53 left on the clock.
Right. Hear the engines revving here coming into this round as 6. Ooh. Full-on blast going to be able to send California back over to their side of the net. Ball is being set up, but there's no secondary member for California to follow up on top of that. It is just ESA, but they have no boost. Going to have to try to get a little bit more momentum before the ball gets thrown over. California still assisting ESA and sending it back over to their side of the court. Now ESA has an open opportunity to try to get a goal, and it gets cleared out by California.
Again, 1:25 on the clock here. ESA still needing 2 points to tie things up against a dominant opponent, but showing more life now, Panda, in the second half of this game.
That's right. They're coming a little bit alive, too. California trying to get a little bit aggressive, maybe playing with their food a little bit too much, and when you end up leaving yourself, when you try to play a little bit too aggressive, you leave yourself open to opportunities, and ESA has been capitalizing on all those opportunities as well. But California going to be able to go on full boost mode and going to be able to send ESA back to their side of the court as well. Now respawning back in, but the ball on the side of ESA. California looking to accentuate their lead by not only 2, but perhaps 3, as we are less than a minute left on the board. 45 seconds, in fact. Still jostling for position over in the corner boost area of ESA's side, and the ball goes way high up.
Everyone looking a little confused, a little discombobulated.
It's like a meteor was coming into the sky, too. Oh, look at that coming out of the sky.
Pretty.
Not a pretty light indeed, but what it is 30 seconds left on the board here, and it's 2 goals still down for ESA. Stan and Kevin looking to pull themselves back in this endeavor. Can't necessarily do this in 20 seconds left. California playing very smart and just keeping it on the side for ESA. The goal not scored quite yet. California, 9 seconds left. Can close this out. Even if this goal comes through for ESA, it not only would be impressive.
It will not.
Oh, shot on the
wow.
goal, but it misses wildly.
No.
California will take this 4-2.
Congratulations to California now, extending their lead, taking down Guam for that top spot, now leading with 8 goals overall to Guam's 7, followed now in third place by Texas.
Oh, man.
ESA, a good showing. They looked a little sleepy there in the beginning, but they came back. Stan and Kevin came back, got some goals on the board.
They came to play, and that's that's what matters at the end of the day too. And
That
all
is.
smiles from our competitors as well. And again, one of the most important parts about this is it's just having fun.
That is very true, and we've seen that all throughout the day. Everyone who's sitting here, all smiles, all laughs, all cheers when they get a goal,
Yeah.
or as we've seen, give their other team a goal.
Generosity, fun, all false at
That's
the
what
same
it's all
time.
about. Generosity, fun, happiness, helping out your opponent for better or for worse.
That's
It's the
absolutely
thought
right.
that matters.
That's absolutely right. Well, I'm going to end up stepping away here once again. Katie has
Yeah.
another interview as well, so.
We're going to
that being
keep
said,
on
yeah.
moving.
That's right.
I'll see you soon. Thank you so much, California Congressman Jimmy Gomez, joining us here. Congratulations
Thank you.
on your win. California now sitting in the top spot overall on the leaderboard. 8 points, 8 goals scored. How does that feel?
It feels great. You know, it was something that I wasn't prepared for, but it was good teamwork.
You looked prepared. You won 4-2.
Oh, 4-2 was a big win.
It
You know,
was indeed.
I would have enjoyed it was 4-0, but, we'll take the win.
Yeah, you know what? A win is a win, 4-2 or 4-0. You were kind enough to give them some goals.
Exactly. And I think I hurt my my thumb.
It happens,
So
it
it was hurting
happens.
my play a little bit. So my steering wasn't on target.
Yeah, but you know what? To that point, ESA still couldn't take you down.
That's right. That's
Thumb
right.
or no, didn't matter. California came out on top. Now tell me what has brought you here? What has wanted you to engage Future Forum, ESA, Esports, the industry? Why are you here?
Well, esports is a big industry, and a lot of my constituents play in it. I also represent downtown LA, so I have the Staples Center, and one of the biggest ESA tournaments.
E3 there every year.
E3 occurs every year, and it's a big deal. And I think that, and most people don't know that there's folks that are actually making a living off of this industry, and we want to make sure that we highlight that it's job promotion, but also shows that there's a new field emerging, right? People that are going to college to play these kind of games. So I think it's an amazing industry, and we need to make sure people know about it.
That is excellent. Now tell me for your district then, obviously, so they're interconnected within this. How much have you heard from them about the industry and why it's important?
Well, somebody who, one of my old high school classmates, she actually works for a team that will go travel around to a lot of these tournaments, and they're based out of downtown LA. So, and those folks come from all walks of life, and most people don't know about them. But that's how I kind of first found out about the industry, and it is pretty impressive. It's not just for people who are playing the normal video games at home. These are professionals, and they're very good at their jobs.
Now, for those who may not know your history and your tenure in Congress, can you tell me how long you've been around walking the halls, and what made you decide to run in the beginning?
So it's going to be 2 years tomorrow that I've been sworn in as a member of Congress. So I won a special election in 2017. I ended up getting on to Natural Resources and Oversight. Now I'm on the House Ways and Means Committee, which deals with a lot of tax and trade issues. So a lot of people care about that committee. But I just got on. I ran for office the first time just because I cared about people's education, making sure they had health care, a lot of the nuts and bolts of what Americans are struggling with. So for me, Congress was just that next step.
That definitely would make sense then. So maybe in the same vein of what we've been talking about, what are some of the issues and concerns you've heard from your district, from your constituents?
Well, it runs the gamut. I have a district that you have people that are making $19,000 per capita income a year to people who are living in like multi-million-dollar homes in Hancock Park. So their concerns are very different. A lot of people care about the environment, open space, healthcare, Housing is a big issue in California because of the affordable crisis. There's just not enough homes for people to buy or to live in. So we're dealing with that quite a bit. But, they're also looking at, like, how do I get a job in a good career in a good sector? I think these entertainment software is something that's growing, and we want to push more and more kids that are not from the traditional backgrounds into this field.
That is excellent. Now, what, aside from, trouncing the competition in Rocket League, what's the best part of your job here in Congress?
The best part is really working on some of these big issues. Everything from trade issues to healthcare, and then getting to meet people, and then having the platform when you speak, people listen. That's what this gives us. It gives us a platform to do that. They invite us to cool events like this to kind of play what it feels like video games, but something that it gives us a different idea of what thousands, if not millions, of Americans are doing. So that's probably one of the neat parts of the job.
And that is very true. You say millions of Americans. That's accurate. No, all walks of life play video games. All walks of life, love them, enjoy them. So it's good to see congressmen and women here participating in this. Now, to that same vein, then, what has surprised you in your 2 years here the most about being in Congress?
Well, I was a staffer here first, so I had a very different perspective.
Okay. So then maybe that's interesting. What's been most surprising for you moving from staffing to holding office?
Being a staffer, you're impatient a lot of times, and I was impatient. You want to have a profound impact on policy and people's lives, but Congress moves very slow. It's actually been structured in a way since the founding of this country to stop legislation.
Take its time.
Take its time. And that's just in the nature of this, of the way our system of government is structured. So I'm still surprised how slow it moves, but also how quickly it does move when everything aligns, right? Public sentiment, policy ideas, and the votes, and that's kind of what we're looking for. But getting to work with a lot of the young people that are new to Congress, their first job out of college or grad school, and then telling them, have patience, do a good job, and you're going to do well in your career, and really helping them, guide them along in their own career paths. So that's been fun.
Great, and there we have it. Again, Congressman, thank you so much for joining me up here. California Congressman Jimmy Gomez taking our latest win in Rocket League here, 4-2 over ESA. Congratulations. And
thank you so much.
And thank you for coming up here to chat.
And cool Vans. I used to have a pair of those.
Thank you. A little new. They're going to be dirtier soon, but looking good right now. Thank you. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
And now we have the man, the myth, the legend, Stan, the CEO of Entertainment Software Association. Fell there to California, but a solid effort.
I felt like his controller had more control than mine. Something switched at the end.
Was the congressman?
I'm not going to claim
Were shenanigans
I'm
occurring?
not claiming shenanigans. I'm just saying there was a lot more control on his. But seriously, it was such a treat to be here. I want to thank Future Forum for hosting us, Congresswoman Murphy, Dow. I want to thank Psyonix for allowing us to use this amazing game. It's so easy to learn and fun to play. And I want to thank you guys for coming and giving us a little bit of comic relief. You guys really took it to us when we were playing.
I saw you laughing. I assumed you'd be all right with it.
Wow. I knew that we just needed to score one goal.
Just one. Just can't have a goose egg.
And what was the first thing he said? He wanted to win 4-0. I mean, that's the heart of a champion.
And you took that away.
That's the heart of a champion. I want him to have that.
Controller problems or no, you took that away.
We got the one on. Then we got two. We almost got three, but we were not going to win that game. But thank you for coming, and it's
Thank
exciting.
you for having us.
It's exciting to see this type of event happen on the Hill. It's happening everywhere. Esports is growing in a tremendous way. A year and a half ago, there were maybe 50 scholarships, schools with scholarships on esports. Now there are 161 plus. It's growing to more than $1 billion business this year, esports in total. So, and it's a great mechanism for education. It's a great mechanism for getting kids and students into the sciences, into STEM, and into something that's really innovative. And so we're excited that this is the kind of event we can have on the Hill because it speaks to where video games are, not only innovative, but affecting our lives and the way we work, play, and live. So It's an
Yeah.
exciting time to be in video games.
Yeah, and of course, for folks like myself who are in the industry, it is wonderful to see. It means a lot to see that people who you may not, otherwise engage with, politicians perhaps, do care, and they are engaging, and they are here, and they are kicking butt at Rocket League. So again, thank you so much to Psyonix for letting us have some fun with their game. And thank you, Stan, for having me and for having Pokemon Panda to be able to sit here and do our thing as well.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure to join you guys, to join Future Forum for a fun couple hours of Rocket League.
Thank you, and thanks for everyone for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, this is ESA in the Future Forum, Esports, video games, and why this industry is so very important with CEO Stan. And I'm your host, Katie Bedford, saying thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.